AOC plays the victim. Another vaccine is on its way. The Super Bowl is Sunday. All that and more coming up on today's Wade and Carter Show. Not bad.
Pretty good. Bad. Oh,
I'm gonna hear some letter Kenny comment because I'm wearing a dress shirt and a hat and a trucker hat. It's coming.
From who, a Canadian?
No, probably either my money's on Kurth or HR. Hey, good morning, everybody.
And good morning to you,
good
sir.
morning to you. How are you today?
I'm good, brother. Very good. Excited to be here. Wrapping up another week. It's amazing. This week has flown by.
It's been a busy week. Let's do this.
The Wade and Carter weather brought to you by the great folks at Deerland Feed. You know, with your weekend projects, if you're wanting to think, Matt Boucher says winter's over. Now's a great time to get your seed potatoes and get your seeds for your garden.
Any tuber will be probably pretty safe in the ground.
Tubers, dude. Get over there. I ain't talking about the Guadalupe River either. I'm talking about get over there and get your tubers.
Or those 2-foot tubes in the Gulf of Mexico.
Come on. Get over to Deerland Feed. I tell you what, you also need your Roundup / Honcho / ant killer, bug killer. They've got it all. You need to kill something, they got it. You need to make something grow, they got it. Fertilizers.
Feed, pet food,
cool
pet
pocket
treats.
knives, cattle prods, and ropes and
hay.
It's just it's the kind of place you walk in and you can see Tim the Tool Man. More stuff. They've got it at Deerland Feed. They'll tell you today, 57 degrees and cloudy in Victoria, and that's about as hot as it's going to get. Little chance of a shower this afternoon, but it's just that day. It's going to look like it wants to rain all day and probably not do much.
Should we tease the weekend? What's the weekend?
The weekend looks like Saturday's a high of 73, but a low of 39. So overnight, it's going to get it's not getting any warmer today because it's going to get colder tonight, and then tomorrow 73. Partly or mostly sunny, and Sunday 72 degrees and a beautiful sunshiny day before it starts to look rainy next week. They seem on this app to always promote rain next week. You know, it's kind of like, oh, yeah, we had free food yesterday. It's that kind of deal.
Rain's coming.
Great to see Emmett Alvarez. I was going to say Emmett Smith. Emmett Alvarez didn't have near as many yards. No, but great to see Emmett Alvarez in here this morning visiting with Bill Posey. And what I like about Emmett, one of the many things that I like about Emmett is that he's
in burnt orange today.
Well, he's also a what do you call it? A fellow Texas grad,
fellow alum.
He really does study the numbers. He keeps them. I've got mine at home. I don't know. Maybe it's a UT thing, but he had his packet from the last bond and where the money was going to go. I found it interesting. He pointed out that for $148 million, we could equitably, because we're being equitable now. That's a big deal. We could spread money all over the district and bring all of the campuses up to speed versus spending 150 something million and only getting 2 new schools. But I do find it along the lines
I don't know. That's a fair way. Only 2 new schools. There were a lot of improvements made to other schools.
No doubt. I mean, in big picture, that way I'm just going with what was being said on the program. But, Bill Posey pointed out a great point. Where is the sinking fund to maintain what we have? And it's one thing to go build new schools. It's another thing to be able to maintain them.
Well, this is a mentality that is troubling. And I think it starts with pro sports, right? Because I haven't really seen this in the collegiate sports field yet. And we don't really see it in high school athletics. But pro sports, you have teams that complain because they're playing in a 10 or 15-year-old building.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they want a new
This
stadium.
building's obsolete. It's 15 years old.
The community still owes 20 years on it.
Yeah. And I mean, the Texas Rangers are a great example of that.
When it was built, it was state of the art. I
Had office buildings in center field.
Yeah, Troy Aikman had an office out there. The ballpark at Arlington, it was beautiful. It was designed with some styling cues from the old Yankee Stadium, the arches in the outfield. It was meant to last forever.
And it was all a facade. It was all girders, and the brickwork was just a facade. It was, I mean, until you got in there, you didn't realize that.
And then they've already mothballed it.
They've moved on to a new one. But
I thought I was just old, for real, because it was built when I was in my late 20s, early 30s. So it didn't make it 30 years. Yankee Stadium lasted 100.
91, I think, right?
Yeah.
And it was, and the Rangers were playing in the new ballpark last year.
Yes.
So it didn't even get 30.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah. And now we're,
it was not paid for. Let's put it that way.
And we're, and now we're seeing similar discussions or arguments being made. Well, we got 40-year-old buildings. We need new ones. And don't get me wrong, Stroman's a mess. It was built wrong to begin with when you look at it. The way that thing was constructed, it just didn't make. So that's where you got caught up in a fad, ceiling or walls didn't go all the way up to the ceilings. I mean, it was just.
What would happen if you made a school more like a commercial warehouse? And what I mean by that is, like, if you think of Sam's, it's not a store, it's just a warehouse. What if you had cinder block walls and the pipes were on the outside? Pipes leaking, you can see the leak. Pipes leaking, you can fix the leak.
Office buildings are kind of like that. Nowadays, they build them. They're all steel and girders and cement.
Why not?
But inside, everything is erected with steel tracks. They take the old Hilti gun and nail into the cement floor, and then your walls are all done with steel studs. And they're easy to take apart. They're easy to move walls when you need to.
Put the bathrooms in the corners, so that if you ever need to tear out a wall and make this room a bigger room, you can just tear out a wall. Have minimal load-bearing walls in the middle, lots of steel, right? I can no humor here. I could make those walls basically out of thick Yeti foam so that they're quiet, but they're lightweight, and I can move them if I need to. I mean,
I'll be honest.
The shell could last forever. You've got people right now wanting to put $600,000 into Mitchell School to bring it up to speed. Just build the building, leave everything exposed, conduit, water pipes, everything, so that if it leaks, there's where it's leaking right there. Hey, man, we ain't got to dig this whole wall out, $50 million project. Go out there with some Flex. What's this stuff called?
Flex Seal.
Flex Seal. Pretty. That's what VI is to be like, dots everywhere. Flex Seal.
Well, I think, yeah.
It's not a bad idea.
No, it's not a bad idea.
Take away all the load bearing in the middle. Put the bathrooms on the extreme so you don't have plumbing running. We can't move this wall because there's a bathroom there. Put the bathrooms on the corners. Concede the bathrooms, if you will. We got to have them. Put them on the corners. Make everything else like plug and play. Move it. I like it.
I do too.
Brent Carter, School Design. You got anything going? Can we see who's checking in on the Elysterometer?
Let me do this real quick, though.
Oh.
Because, we don't do this often, but.
I like it a lot. That's the Canadian, that's the Montreal Canadiens organ player.
Yeah.
I'd like to be the first to wish Cheryl a happy birthday.
You can't do that. But we don't do birthdays on the show, but I have to wish my beautiful, lovely bride a happy birthday today.
Yeah.
Love you, Cheryl. Have a great day.
I saw the note where she said, "Don't forget my birthday." Yeah.
Sticky note.
Nice job. It was on your cap.
On my forehead.
It was on your cap.
I woke up to paper crunching when I rubbed my eyes.
In a real quick, we'll do our we'll do our breaks here today, but a special thanks to all of our sponsors yesterday for indulging us all the time. We promise everybody a live testimonial ad every day. And yesterday we forewent, if you will, and allowed the combo of Dr. Quentin Shepard and Dr. Greg Bunwald to take basically the entire hour, which I was proud they took. You saw how quick that show went by. It really went by in a hurry because there was a lot of data and a lot of information being thrown out. And a special tip of the cap to our wonderful sponsors for that.
Really appreciate
them
understanding and providing the forum.
Absolutely.
Marvin Mickers first in on a Friday. Marvin, you know what? I'll hook up with. We'll get you a T-shirt today.
There you go.
Chris Conrad, second one in.
What
second
size
place
you,
is
Marvin?
second place, Chris. You know what that is.
First loser.
Scott Tomko, good morning. I can't argue. His Winnipeg Jets beat my Calgary Flames last night. So
Chris Conrad. Hey, now, where does he live?
he's in the Sugarland area.
Okay, well, which is kind of like Newfoundland.
David Glass, good morning. The Iceman is in. H.R. Mallory. Scott Tomko says winter's coming. Rob Moore Knipling. Randy Langston, good morning. Lisa Poole checking in. There's Joel Gomez. Clint Ives. Randy Langston asking about the anyone see the latest news with David Hogg taking on the My Pillow guy and starting his own pillow company? Yeah, he can cry in that oversized pillow.
Good luck.
Good morning, Christina Wise, Patrick Strauss checking in, Stephanie Conti, Andy Ria Jr., Missy Van Klemachek, Richard King.
Does anybody else think that David Hogg should probably get on with his life? Like his 15 minutes of fame.
Apparently he is. What are you going to call that? The hog pillow?
I don't know.
Hog cushion?
I don't know. Clint Ives pointed out, I think accurately, that Emmett Alvarez is the last truly conservative Democrat. He still wants to take all of your tax dollars, but he wants to spend them judiciously.
Richard King says he's been in West. There's a lot of wasted space and a lot of wasted air conditioning. It is a poor design. I kind of agree. A lot of space
West and you've been
your
in
head.
East. Yeah, you go into the library. I mean, there's 5,000 square feet there. That's just a 2-story space. And I don't know if anybody looks around, but nobody goes to a library anymore. I mean, the world is online. And besides, books and what really happened don't matter anymore. It's all about how you feel. There's Uncle Norm checking in from Frisco.
It's 56 here. It's probably pushing 30 up there.
Oh, what's he got? He hadn't said yet.
No, Bob Constantine, good morning.
Hello, Bob.
John Paul, 2021 blonde, vote for Flex Seal.
Yeah, I think Flex Seal, I mean, I'm touching it right here on this counter. It feels amazing.
Adam Daughtry checking in. Adam's got some plans.
Yeah.
We'll end up getting him on the show. But
We could build a school and coat it with Flex Seal, and then if the floods came, the school would just float. It'd be a boat.
Chris Conrad asked if that was Happy Birthday by Roger Doucette.
Which is going to be
He was the anthem singer at the
Flames games?
Montreal Forum.
There you go.
Back in the day. I used to do a good impersonation of the guy that used to do the PA announcement at the Toronto Maple Leafs games. Leafs goal scored by number 27, Daryl Sittler.
It's just very exciting, wasn't it?
Wasn't much to it.
As opposed to now when they go, goal!
Exactly.
Just scream.
Well, because hockey fans used to know. Now it's become such an entertainment thing, and it's not always people who know hockey. They're there for the entertainment, the experience,
The beer.
and the beer and the hard drinks. And so people don't. I mean, Madison Square Garden, when I first went there, was one of the last stadiums that had that ribbon board around it to tell you what to do.
Right.
And they still don't do that. They'll put colors up and try to make it a little more visually appealing. They never urge you to cheer, which I think is refreshing and probably one of the only hockey arenas that doesn't have to do that because
Good morning, Mike Bloschke. Mike Bloschke, no doubt, out this morning with RCR Construction working on. He's got a bunch of projects going on.
Tom Price, good morning. Janelle Sarles checking in.
Hello,
Jeff
Janelle.
Meyer, good morning.
Hello, Jeff Meyer.
Terry Murray's checking in. It's 40 in Frisco. Thank you, Norm.
Jeff Meyer's up because he's out there constabling in Precinct 1. He's out there making it happen.
Matt Oker.
Can you see Jeff Meyer? Come here, you little truant. Come here. Get in the truck. You're going to school today.
Iceman is in.
Didn't want to tase that kid. I felt I owed it to him. Get in the truck. Just loads him up in the back of the truck. They're all shivering with the taser. Drops them off at PW. Says, have a nice day. Tell you what.
Speaking of dropping them off.
If you did it, there'd be less truancy. Yeah. You got some explaining to do, Lucy. Tell you what you can do is tow those kids into town from Allen's Wrecker Service. 578-6300. That's your go-to tow team. Yeah, it's, those that get it, get it. They now appreciate a bad segue. There you go. BJ Nelson says White Trash Services is honored to provide a roll-off box to the RCR company. It's just something, no doubt, the synergy of Wade and Carter helped create. 550-1826. Reach out to White Trash Services today. They've got things going on. White Trash Services is an aggressive, growing local business and a company that you can be proud of having here in Victoria.
And it's roll-off season, so time to give them a call.
Yep.
Get your roll-off ordered, so when your spring cleaning
get that attic cleaned out, get that garage cleaned out. I've done it. They're awesome.
They'll drop it. You load it. They'll come back, pick it up, take it away.
There you go. Or if you're Canadian, they'll drop it. You can get loaded. They'll come back and pick it up. 550-1826.
And the maneuver around you as you're laying past in your yard.
When you're at home and your kids come in and they like outline your body on the floor in chalk because that's where Dad stopped. The VCS companies, Rocket Oilfield Services, and the only locally owned and authorized AT&T retailer. Boy, the AT&T store over there, I drove by the other day to have lunch with T-Lat, and it was moving and grooving. I guess New Year, people are their contracts are up on their phones and they're upgrading. The new iPhone 12 is a phenomenal tool. And they have not only the phones in stock, they've got all the, I made you giggle about something?
I've said people say that about us, but they keep the phenomenal out of it.
Just tools. Yeah. There you have it. It's a noun with a negative connotation. Ash is a tool. But the AT&T store has everything you need for all your communication needs. It's incredible. The camera on this thing, Dawn will take my phone and take pictures.
Makes you look good.
Yeah, I have a slimming feature on there. It makes me look fantastic. There you go.
She says she has a hard time getting you out of that house of mirrors, that one mirror that makes you look skinny.
Look at that. I'm skinny.
Yeah. Take a picture of that, would you?
I'm going to the next level.
Chesnick Furniture Company.
101 years. Wow. Let that sink in for a second. They're
50% off all furniture.
Over half of that, they've been at 116 West Juan Lynn, the corner of Juan Lynn and Bridge. So you just go down Main Street, take a right on Juan Lynn. It's right down there, past Huvar's, and just right there on the right across from the police station. Highly recommend going by there and saying, while I'm here, can you bring me a new mattress? While I'm here, how about that lamp? Some artwork, washer, dryer, all the different furniture. They have a tremendous selection of recliners. If you go today or tomorrow, you can have a new recliner, ladies, for the Super Bowl. Father's Day is right around the corner. There's birthdays in February, March, April, May.
Mother's Day's in May.
Get a recliner today, 50% off at Chesnick Furniture, and they'll deliver it, and your man or you can enjoy it for the Super Bowl. I like to plea with the ladies because men want things and ladies go ahead and say, you know what? I'm going to get that. Women buy things.
Guys research.
Well, I don't even know. No, I'm not saying we're smarter. Or I'm not.
I'm not saying we're smarter.
We overanalyze things out and find something. And I've known guys that go in, they find a pair of khakis they like. And these are nice. And they go back and buy 8 pair. And that's all they buy for like the next 5 years. Put 4 of them up, put 4 of them in the rotation, and off they go. Ladies will find something and I get a box from Pink Coconut every day of the week. I mean, Dawn is part of the reason that Jeff Bezos can retire. Part of it. Adam Dodger says, how about a recliner for the she shed? I don't know why I always feel like I'm going to say something inappropriate when I try to work that phrase. Today's a great day and the last day of the week to get to Veracruz. Get by there today.
Order your enchilada casserole today for Super Bowl Sunday. Stick it in the fridge. It'll be there ready to go. Pop it in the oven, heat it up. That's your Super Bowl party right there. Chips and queso to go. I'm just planning your Super Bowl party.
Is it normal that I just got a note from Police Chief Robert Eddondo, our friend of the show. Great guy. And it said, call me after the show. Now, had I not, even though I initiated that conversation with a text to him, I'm a little anxious when the police chief, I mean, we've had to deal with superintendents. That's like the principal squared. And now we've got police chiefs. I mean, I'm
at least it can't be that important.
Couldn't be that bad. He knows where I'm at. He would just show up too. The man, he would just show up, right? If I was in trouble.
Probably.
You're going to make it through the show?
Yeah.
You got allergies going?
Bad this morning. But
wouldn't it be funny or ironic if Ash were allergic to pets? I mean, he's got his normal full up 10 animals, plus he's got a bonus animal. And here's the deal. Ash doesn't just find a dog. Ash finds a dog that's about 6 months old that likes to play games by like running off and hiding from him at the 2-4. Oh, by the way, covered in fleas and full of worms. I mean, so, the right thing, Ash takes his dog to the vet. I mean, $5,000 later, Char's buying more land, for a stray.
It's a beautiful collie mix.
Not hyper at all. I'm sorry.
Actually, she's very docile. She's
full of worms, dude.
Well, yeah, right now.
Right? Yeah, look at that. Justice Witowski says Caleb Shaw walks in just as Brent gets his silver bracelets. Yeah, they would put me, he would say, bend over, and I would comply. I'm a totally compliant guy. Like if the police walked in right now and said, get on the floor, yes, sir, I would assume that there was a sniper in the area and they want me on the floor. There are people who go, I didn't do anything. Let me get my phone. I want to film you. You're harassing me. You're harassing me, which, by the way, that rambling leads us into a natural segue with AOC, folks. Have y'all seen this, that she's now complaining that she was harassed by Capitol Police?
Yeah. First of all, her story about being absolutely terrified for her life, and I guess maybe she was. I mean, I can't verify or vouch for her level of terror and the way she felt, but she had a video out there the day of that she was like, I mean, the insurgency was right outside her door, and that this was it. She was done.
It was a lie.
Well, yeah,
it was. DC is full of these tunnels and
catacombs, and
from her office to the Capitol was about 3 blocks. Yeah. I mean, we're at Lorette Tower. She's over there by that HEB sign, but it was imminent. They were at the Capitol. Yeah. They were going to kill her.
And finally, somebody, a Republican who shares the corridor and is either the next office over or 2 offices down, finally had enough guts to say, you know what? I'm going to tell the truth. And I'm sure she's taken all the arrows from the left, but at least she's exposing the fraud and the perpetual victimism that is AOC. Remember, she was a victim because she was a product of her decision to go to Columbia and get a massively expensive education to become a waitress.
Yeah.
Lucked into election and re-election. But certainly but anyway, so now she was a victim of January 6th. Turns out, that may not be so accurate. Now she's complaining that the Capitol Police were rough and gruff, trying to move them out of their offices. that they yelled at her and they raised their voices. I mean, come on.
Randy
Oh,
Langston
geez.
said that she told him that the officer had an angry, stern look. He goes, well, duh, he's a cop. Shut up. It's time to move your rear.
Yeah, exactly.
She wants him to come in and like help her gather up all of her stuff and,
put it in a box and put it on the dolly and move it for her.
And you don't think that he knows that she's a big proponent of defunding the police?
Well,
but yet when there's a problem, who does she call?
Ghostbusters?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, BJ Nelson points out, I would rather say I was brave than say I was a victim. When did victimhood become more honored than courage? I'll tell you when it happened. It happened when the left got in control of everything. And make no mistake, folks, we live in an oligarchy and the left is in control of everything. Did you see this Marjorie Taylor Greene? I mean, do I think
10 minutes on C-SPAN yesterday? Do I think she's a little out there?
She's a little out there. She's a little out there. I mean, I do, but she's no more out there than AOC or Sheila Jackson Lee, who's got no sense, or Maxine Waters, who really is 100 years old from California.
Isn't she the one that told everybody to attack any politician and any Republican?
You need to get in their faces. You need to get in their faces and challenge them. She incited all types of potential violence, never censored, never called down by her peers. This Marjorie Taylor Greene.
You could say that her words probably were the reason so many people were in Washington, D.C. sidewalk cafes harassing politicians and others.
Believe that 100%. She could be the reason that you saw people wearing MAGA hats being harassed in Whataburgers. It happened. But forget the hypocrisy, which you've learned here long ago is the tell of the left.
Standard operating procedure. That's like page 1 of their operating manual. Be a hypocrite.
Marjorie Taylor Greene Taylor Greene goes on
representative from Georgia
television and said, look, folks,
elected by her district, so maybe this is how her district feels.
Right.
I think
or they'll vote her out. But she made the comment that she had talked about David Hogg and she had talked about some of the other incidents of Columbine and things. She talked about her school. She talked about, hey, my school was a gun-free zone. A guy came in when I was in school, held the whole school captive. I don't know if it's true or not. I didn't fact check her. But she also talked about
if AOC can be a victim and nobody cares if what she's saying is true, then we can't question Marjorie Taylor Greene then.
But she did say, folks, 9/11 absolutely happened. So I think she at one point had alluded that 9/11 might have been an inside job.
I believe she's very much a QAnon follower. I don't know if she's quite to the disciple level.
Right.
But she seemed to retweet some QAnon stuff, which, I mean, a lot of people did, whether you believe it or not, or you thought some of it was funny.
Interesting.
The stuff is out there. Well, get ready for the next step, because canceling you for what you say, we've moved beyond that if we're the left.
Right.
Now we're going to cancel you for what you think.
For what you think.
If you don't think the way the left thinks.
I'm telling you, reprogramming camps are coming.
Taking off 2 committees, 10-minute diatribe on C-SPAN yesterday to explain who she is, why she is, which she shouldn't have had to apologize for anything. It was basically a 10-minute apology.
And they're mad because the Republicans didn't do more to censor her and admit that her way of thinking is the way that most Republicans think. They wanted the Republicans to admit that most Republicans think the way she does. Thought that was interesting. I just saw where Steve Kidder checked in. Not only did you notice that Steve Kidder does not show as a top fan because he's now a sponsor. The law offices of Steve Kidder are available to help you with everything from estate planning, wills, trust, and all of that, to
the boring stuff,
to
the exciting courtroom drama.
Hamburger. Remember him? Hamilton Burger from the Perry Mason series. Doesn't exist. Has no place in this bit.
Before my time.
Yeah, well, Steve Kidder knows because he researched. I wonder if Matlock motivated him to be an attorney. Well, Matlock.
I can't see Matlock.
No. Steve Kidder
more night court.
I think Steve Kidder has a seersucker. I think he has a seersucker suit. But I'll tell you,
who doesn't in the South?
If you need
or
help,
at least a seersucker sport coat
with family law, and not all family law is negative. Maybe you need help with an adoption. Maybe you need help with, like I said, a prenup or working on a marriage contract, whatever that involves. Steve Kidder, the law offices of Steve Kidder are there for you, and we're proud to have him. As he says, also, if you run into H.R. Mallory, he can help.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Not if you literally run into H.R. Mallory.
Literally, do not crack H.R.'s Tahoe.
He'll do that on his own by pushing the gas pedal too hard.
Oh,
yeah, we don't forget on this show.
Right? It could happen. It could happen. I don't know why my radiator hose busted. I was only going 140. There you go.
If your radiator hose busts, Atzenhofer can handle the job. And then some.
Since 1926, folks, people have trusted the Atzenhofer dealership. I talked to Tommy Taylor the other day and got some interesting stuff. I told him.
Get another cliche?
I did. And I told him, I said, we always talk about that you're right there on the Navarro Motor Mile, just down the street from higher prices. You're stacking them deep and selling them cheap. If you don't buy it today, it's okay. They'll be there tomorrow. And he said, don't forget this. All our cars are made on Monday. I go, what? He goes, oh, yeah. He goes, by Friday, the union is getting lazy and sloughy. He goes, our cars are made on Monday. We order cars at Atzenhofer that are built on Mondays. I said, attaboy, I'll pass that along.
So we just did.
Since 1926. And by the way, go cruise today. If you're at your desk right now, first of all, you're an overachiever. But if you're at your desk right now, go to Atzenhofer.com and look at how easy it is to peruse Cadillac, Chevy, Mazda, Mitsubishi. They've got an entire pre-owned section. They have a certified pre-owned section. Those are going to be very low mileage, very lightly used. Maybe a vehicle somebody got and said, I'm going to go ahead and get a bigger. I got an Escalade. Now I want an Escalade ESV. Big one.
Go ahead.
The Kahuna.
You can live in that.
There you go. We talk about Razor IT Solutions all the time. JP Hull. It gives, like, I don't want to know everything JP knows. I don't have that quest. There's things you turn over to him, just like we do with Dwayne Proctor at
GDP Techs.
Absolutely. 550-4744. If you need a laptop, if you need to upgrade the software on your laptop, you call Dwayne Proctor, 550-4744 at GDP Techs. But if you need to understand how the Russians, Indians, and Chinese are trying to hack into your website, you don't need to understand it. You need to prevent it.
You just need to know what they're trying,
and they are.
He can help you.
JP Hull does that. Reach out to him, and he will. Patrick Strauss says, hey, they're worn out by Friday, but aren't they hungover on Monday?
No.
I'm starting to wonder.
Because Detroit doesn't have a football team, so there's no need.
Yeah, only during football season. That's right. I'm starting to think that Tuesday or Wednesday might be the best day for a car. Matt Oker says sharks with freaking
that's because they're
laser beams.
Yeah, I think she thought that the fires in California were started with a laser.
You know what? It makes you wonder if there was a test. I mean, Dawn saw some of that. T-Lat saw it. Oh, and by the way, Complete 360, you want to talk about somebody benefiting from sponsoring Wade and Carter. So T-Lat and I went in there the other day. There's a beautiful location, 1404 East Red River, right over here.
Just down the road.
Right over here off Red River, just between Laurent, or if you're from Laurent, and Ben Jordan. Between those two roads,
Ben Jordan.
Jordan is a new location of Complete 360, and it's called the Health Bar. And yesterday, Tom Curtis put on Facebook, I did not know this. You can go in and Dawn and I split a blueberry waffle, but we could have split a half blueberry, half strawberry waffle. And it comes with fresh berries and a homemade kind of cinnamon whipped cream thing and sugar-free syrup. The whole thing. I mean, my half was like 200 calories and honestly, 20 grams of protein. It's a wonderful, if you're working out, if you're recovering.
It's the Wagyu beef of waffles.
That's exactly what it is. That's going to stick. That's going to make the cut. The Wagyu beef of waffles. Beautiful place. We also had a panini, and everything was fresh. They make everything in-house. Totally recommend that you go by there.
And a few of our listeners were there yesterday.
So. Yeah.
Yeah,
Jeff Fonseca says, I thanked a former sponsor yesterday, but I felt like an idiot. I only listen to the show every morning.
Well,
but guess what, Jeff?
That.
We appreciate that.
Because they'll appreciate that because then they might feel guilty about being a former sponsor.
Well, and we've had some people move on. I'm going to give a shout that I know I've told Ash this, but he's probably the only one. When we had the idea to do this, the first day that I even thought about monetizing the situation, I walked in and talked to Steve Argybright and Brent Goen at Warrior Supply. And before I could explain what we were trying to do, Steve Argybright had written us a check that one check covered the gear that we needed to get started and paid the first month's installment at Magic. And from that moment on, the show has never cost Ash or me a dime. It's always cash flowed. We're not getting rich off of it and couldn't. There's not enough time for us to get rich off of it. But we're
providing a forum and
every day you provide that forum, and thank you to our listeners and sponsors. But we've never parted ways with a sponsor that was disappointed in us or angry with us. We've had a couple leave and come back.
Chris Conrad says Brandy was paying you to leave his office.
Right. Yeah. I do handle his insurance as well. By the way, I'm a really good insurance agent. If you need help, call me. Really good. Because I've got a team. I'm just the tip of the iceberg.
You are.
Thank you.
I don't know where to go with that.
But enough about how I feel about me. How do you feel about me? It's all about feelings these days, folks. It's all about feelings. AOC felt not appreciated by that cop.
How do you cancel somebody? And yet you have certainly at best questionably racially motivated comments that are borderline anti-Semite from a faction that's been glorified as the squad in the Democrat Party. Right?
Right.
Pretty much openly hate Israel and Jewish people.
They're not saying that the U.S. does too much to help Israel. They have a strong Muslim influence, and they actually are anti-Semitic. They don't like Israel, and they flourish in our Congress.
But they get glorified by the media and by their peers. Ironically, by a media that's owned by Jewish people.
Exactly.
So the hypocrisy even extends beyond the Democrat Party, but to those who espouse in the similar beliefs of the Democrat Party. But interestingly enough, this week, or late last week, Iran sends up a test missile. Hadn't seen a missile come out of Iran in years. We've seen a few go into Iran and kill some folks that didn't need to be on this earth anymore.
Donald Trump told them to quit doing it, and they quit doing it. Joe Biden hasn't really said anything audible, except, come on, man, I don't know what I'm signing here. Just sign it, Joe.
Marie Day says one can get away with it because we have a tremendous lack of equal application of our laws. Yeah,
absolutely.
You could extend that into lots of other arguments as well. But, the minute Joe Biden's in office, North Korea starts spouting off again, talking about the things that they can do. You have Iran firing up a test missile.
They're all
saying it's just to get a satellite into space, but we all know that is not the case.
You wait. China's going to go, do something it won't be long. They'll kill a bunch of protesters in Hong Kong or something like that. It'll happen. They're all kind of seeing what they can get away with right now.
Well, I think
Joe Biden thinks Iran is an 80s band. Nice. With the long hair.
Nice one.
I wonder if their hair plugs. I don't know.
Biden could never grow hair that long.
No.
But
Well, he was too busy being top of his law class.
I mean, guess who all of a sudden has grown a pair again and is rearing their ugly head in Afghanistan? The Taliban. That's where we will be back in Afghanistan. Our troops will be back in Afghanistan fighting an endless war. And we put a lot of time, a lot of, what I've heard the term treasure into that space. The Soviets finally wised up. When they went in 79 and took them, 10 years before they realized that they weren't ever going to win that war.
Yeah, it was like
got the heck out.
It was their Vietnam. Yeah.
But this is, Donald Trump was taking our troops out of Afghanistan, and some say, well, it destabilized the region and allowed the Taliban. The Taliban, I mean, let's be honest. There hasn't been any action taken in Afghanistan that has stabilized the region. So that's where our troops will be. We'll be in Afghanistan fighting again, folks. I mean, I know we're already there in some regards, but it'll ramp up under Joe Biden. That's just my prediction.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Adam Dalton just, something and Adam, I'm going to kind of interpolate off your comment. I find it interesting that the things that people are the most vocally upset about, they're like flares. They're not like you look at Christ's Kitchen, you look at the ministry of Trish Hastings, quietly going along like the tortoise, solving the problem, serving the community, selflessly, quietly toiling. Somebody that we've been proud to help support. But then you remember when it was like, we got to do something about these campers, all these homeless people, and blah, 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 and all that. Where did that outrage go? Where is...
I think they just keep kicking the can down the road.
Yeah,
because I think it was on the city council this week, and they decided to table it or not take action on it again.
And I don't know. I mean, you may think that. So here's the deal. If a guy's homeless, you're not making him more homeless by putting him on a bus and taking him out to, Hallettsville. Yeah, drop him off out there. He's still homeless. You didn't hurt him. Give him a sack lunch and drop him off out of Victoria.
You know what's interesting is there are some very liberal cities that have done the exact same thing to deal with their homeless problem, and that's okay. That gets a free pass. When you have a reputation as a conservative city,
you're just being a bully to those people. You're not treating them humanely.
Exactly. It's all a matter of who's taking the action. It absolutely is how your political beliefs align, and the actions you take is the response you'll get from the left, because they absolutely turn a blind eye to cities in California that have shipped their homeless people out of their cities.
Absolutely.
Or pushed them on elsewhere.
Patrick Strauss says, take them to Austin. Jeff Fonseca says, hey, Trish Hastings is a wonderful lady. Let me tell you something.
Matt Oker says, Victoria conservative. Matt, I said the appearance of being conservative.
Yeah, come on, Matt.
Keep up.
You naysayer. Listen quicker. No, but what's funny is with Trish, we had that opportunity. If I remember correctly, it was our Beefmaster. Chris Jansen. And Jeremy and Crystal Pena, and somehow through it all, it was a fun deal we did, and we need to do another one soon. But we had the opportunity, and Trish had no idea, and our listeners, you folks, allowed us to give her $1,000. You remember that? Yep. And she was flabbergasted, stunned. And it was wonderful. And, then, of course, she had to pay $800 for the copay at Citizens. And then they did a CAT scan. Anyway, she's paying those bills off over time. But no kidding, it was a great thrill for us on your behalf to pass along your donations. And Victorians are unbelievably generous. If somebody had a legitimate plan to help the homeless, like I've got no problem taking one of the old dorms out at the airport and renovating the showers and letting them use it.
Adam Daughtry's trying to do something and help homeless veterans in the region. He says, join the Housing Not Handcuffs campaign. And I agree. I don't think.
Well, a veteran to me has a different deal. A veteran's a different deal to me.
Even the homeless, I don't think sending the police out to arrest them, throw them in jail for the night, release them the next day, just to pick them up the next day and start a revolving door. But as we've seen in other cities, the housing isn't enough either. Correct. Because talk to any city that's invested in housing for the homeless, it attracts more homeless.
Right.
From other parts.
Why not? Hey, if we can just get to Victoria, they've got a place for us.
Yeah. We've got to figure out what the reasons are. We've got to get skills that provide jobs and careers, mental health help that needs to be addressed.
That's the key. That's one of the major keys.
Some of the substance abuse issues that need to be addressed,
which exacerbate the mental health issues. We go back to Chief Roy Boyd talking about it.
But the one that always gets looked at is the housing, and I know that seems to be the immediate need because they're on the streets, but it doesn't fix the problems, and we never address the other problems. We never address the lack of skills that make people employable. We never address the mental health issues that help people address the issues they're dealing with to then make them employable and to keep the skills and
is
training.
That government's role? Is that government's role, or historically has that not been the role of, forgive me, the local church, civic organizations? Has that not been the role of, what if the Lions Club, what if Rotary decided we're going to make a difference in this? Does the government need to be involved? Because the government generates nothing, right? The government simply takes.
Who gets rich on, or who ends up? There's an interesting report I was listening to on the way in this morning about the cannabis industry and the money that John Boehner is fixing to make if cannabis ever gets legalized across this country, and the money that Governor Cuomo has made off the cannabis industry. And in 2017, this is a sidetrack a little bit here, but
we never do
that. But Cuomo was absolutely against cannabis and marijuana in 2017, called it the devil's weed and a gateway drug. And now he's made about $1 million off campaign donations by the lobbyists and others. And now, New York's pretty much, and I'm not talking, and it's an example of just the latest bit of follow the money, because that's where things are. The problem I see with this, when every government has gotten involved, is the problems don't get solved. They almost become exacerbated. Politicians get rich. People are hired and live comfortable lives to oversee the problems, because now they're federal employees who can't be fired, and they make pretty good wages and salaries.
Get all the weed they want.
And the homeless problems never get solved, or the problems that the federal bureaucracy that's been established to deal with this never get solved.
But Ash, you're never going to solve the homeless problem. And here's the deal.
No, but you can address things, and you can give, and you can provide the tools and the opportunity to get past this phase of your life. I know somebody who lived in his car for 3 years, didn't have substance abuse issues, a bad marriage and some other things forced him into homelessness.
That's where he wanted to be then. You live there 3 years, that's where you want to be. James Kerr says.
Didn't want to be, didn't have much of a choice, but didn't look at himself as a victim, and did everything he could to get back into a job that allowed him to, and now he's a homeowner. He's got a successful financial business. I'm not going to divulge all his details.
He's a financial planner.
No, he's not, but he doesn't listen to the show. But he's back on his feet,
Right.
So, I
He's
mean,
not a victim.
no.
But, we talked way back. We go back 3.5 years. We had Chief Roy Boyd on, who was then chief deputy here in Victoria County. Now he's the sheriff in Jackson County. And I've had this exact conversation with Justin Marr, who is a very empathetic and caring new sheriff to Victoria County. And Chief Boyd at the time said, it makes no sense for us to go out and arrest these folks, many of whom have mental health issues. And folks, don't be naive. There is rampant, unbelievable amounts of drug abuse in our community. I mean, unbelievable. People are doing things you don't want to know about. And the reality is,
local coach just got arrested.
You don't want to arrest all these people all the time. And yet, when you find the person that's homeless, your heart wants to reach out and solve the problem. The problem isn't going away. And I'm not being a hardliner.
And part of the problem in this community is we have a organized gang that comes in and pretends to be homeless.
Right. They've taken away the credibility of the real panhandler, the guy that, hey man, you see that guy that says I'll work for food? Offer him a ride and a job. Hey man, come on, I got a flower bed. I'll make you a hot meal for dinner. Because you kidding me? I make $45 an hour standing on this corner. He ain't going with you.
No, remember a couple of years ago, there was a video that exposed the fraud by a citizen who offered somebody the job, and they said no. So their sign was a hoax. They just want the money. They take it back to Houston. We've had our law enforcement on here. They drive in daily from Houston or weekly. They stay in a local motel. They take all the money back, and it goes back. It's a front for laundering money is what it is, and other issues. And Matt Oker says, why are many veterans homeless? Why not treat the problem rather than the symptom?
100%.
Sums up what we were trying to say, but we had to stretch because we're trying to fill the hour. Sure.
Yeah, but look at it like this. I have a totally different mindset when it comes to our veterans, whether they have PTSD issues, whether they have drug abuse issues, whether they have trouble sleeping at night, whether they find themselves homeless or not. We owe our veterans. That's a totally different deal to me than a guy who got wrapped up in crystal meth. His parents said, we're done with you. He leaves San Antonio, makes his way to Victoria, stands on the corner with a sign. I want that guy on a bus and out of my city.
James Kerr said we had the homeless coalition director come speak at the American Legion a couple of years ago. She said maybe at most at that time there were about a half a dozen or less homeless veterans at any given time on the streets here. And we asked her to call us when one comes in and wants help, and they have not ever had that call.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what you do. I don't want to be that hardline guy. And man, God bless folks like Trish Hastings who ask no questions. Come on in. We're going to make sure you have a meal to fight another day. And that's something that we're proud to support at Wade and Carter. We do put your money where our mouth is.
And I know there's a homeless village out towards Fannin. Right.
Yeah, it's a. Is that the place that Jim Cole's involved in? They've done a great job. There's some really caring people that do great work. You're right. They are back at the corner of the loop. They're at 463. So, yeah. What did Caleb Shaw say? Because it's going to be give me a chance for some controversy.
Still argue Victoria doesn't have a homeless problem. We have the narrative of a homeless problem, and it's another problem for government to solve and spend money on.
I don't disagree with that. I don't think that there's anywhere near. I think at one point the number was 120 something people, 160 people. And I'm not being flippant. If you've got a loved one that's homeless, go get them. Go get them. But you got 150 people out of a community of 100,000 people. I mean, there's more people walking around with the heartbreak of psoriasis. Let's all get some Lanacane. Stride around with Lanacane in your car.
Promise Point, that's the name of the place. Thank
you,
James.
There you go. Good job.
Final break. Talk a little Super Bowl, and then we'll get out of here. Dana Moore de la Garza, your one-stop
planning
shop. All right, I just wasn't sure if we made that
on
jump.
A Friday, we could go to one-stop death shop. We're all going to die, people. So the sooner you address it in a methodical method, the happier your family's going to be when you kick it. So Dana Moore can talk to you about a plot at Memory Garden. She can talk to you about services with Grace Funeral Home. She can talk to you about whether you want to be embalmed. And I want to go out looking good. I want a Wade and Carter t-shirt. I want people to walk by and go, he looks so natural.
They say that now.
Right. He looks dead. That dude looks dead.
Ooh, he's tasty. He's got circulation issues.
If you want to be cremated, she can help you with that. The beautiful thing is,
I told my kids I want to be cremated, and I want my ashes turned into little diamonds, and they got to wear them, and they're like, "You're sick."
Nice, but free form. They wouldn't actually have facets, like a little pile of mush. No, what you want to do is you get with Dana Moore. You can plan all this in advance so people know your wishes. You can pay for it in advance slowly over time so that you're not putting a burden on your loved ones when you go. And bless them. My parents did this. My parents also did this with Dana Moore. I can tell you that she came to our home. She sat down and answered what I'm sure were, lots of the questions that she hears all the time. And she provided a resource and a solution for my parents that I just couldn't be more thrilled with her love. It's a labor of love, and she really cares about people.
Well, and don't forget, she's so good at what she does. There's probably not a question that she's never been asked.
You're not going to upset her
answer, right?
At all. So, it won't upset her at all. You can ask her anything. We've talked about Motto Mortgage. You reach out to Terry Murray. You want to refinance a home. You want to buy a new home, new to you, whatever. She's seen it all. She can help you get your mortgage placed. She's been doing it for years. She's only 29 years old.
Motto Mortgage is locally owned and operated.
Yep.
541-5454 is the number to call. But conventional financing, FHA, VA, you're looking to purchase, you're looking to refinance.
They say your dream, our expertise. And that pretty much sums it up. She can help you get the mortgage you need.
Don't have rate envy. Give Terry a call.
Right. The interest rates are super low,
they
folks.
Are.
And it's down to where it's almost free money. If you're paying 4.5%, 5% for a mortgage, you owe it to yourself to save hundreds, maybe even $1,000 a month off your mortgage. I talked to Carl Wendt yesterday. Carl Wendt told me, he said, hey, man, you guys are doing a good job for Wendt Services. But don't forget that one of our services includes a licensed master plumber.
Yeah, we talk a little bit about it when we talk generators, but it's not just hooking up the gas connection to your generator. They can do anything that is plumbing related. You want to put a bathroom in your shop? They'll do it.
Shower pans, a new water heater. You want an on-demand. You got a water heater, you got natural gas, but what a pain. The tank seems to go out. You live out in the country, get an on-demand water heater. Wendt Services will come out and help you with all of that. And he told me, he goes, hey, we're just about caught up on the generator side. So we have the responsiveness right now with a master plumber. They keep the plumbers around so that they can make that connection. You have to have a certified plumber to connect your propane or natural gas to your generator. So there you go. That's the behind the scenes look.
That is.
USA Concrete Coatings, Charlie Garcia will come out, 578 Home. He'll come out and clean up, seal up, and then put a beautiful
polyurethane finish.
Antimicrobial, antibacterial, won't harbor oil, won't stain.
Won't fade, won't crack, won't peel.
Right.
Freshen up that drab slab.
You can have, speaking of drab slab, you can have a concrete floor as festive as Nancy Pelosi's forehead. Just reach out to 578 Home. Charlie Garcia will come take care of you.
And don't forget the Gray Barn. Don't disturb Cheryl on her birthday today.
920-6803. She's Canadian.
Or call and wish her a happy birthday. I'm sure she'd love it.
She's Canadian. She probably started drinking heavily on Wednesday to get ready for her birthday.
Caleb Shaw says, of the month. It's birthday month.
The best sponsored commercial breaks in town. We try. You folks get it. When people listen for a while. Look at that. Matt Oker says he ordered a Generac generator from
Wendt.
So you've got Generac, you've got Cummins,
Stratton,
Kohler. They've got them all, man.
Yeah. Phenomenal. Super Bowl's coming up. Earlier, we talked a little bit, made fun of the Detroit Lions, but I got to tell you, how do you trade Matt Stafford, who wants out? I mean, an aging Matt Stafford, who's been a good quarterback. I don't think he's Hall of Fame worthy. I don't think he's even Phillip Rivers conversation.
Phillip Rivers is better.
Phillip Rivers here, Matt Stafford here.
40,000 yards he's passed for, though. He can sling it.
No, he can. But here's a guy who gets traded to the LA Rams now, I guess, right? Still back to LA for Jared Goff. Goff is, everybody says, hey, this guy, if he can ever stay healthy, he's going to be a good one.
Yeah. Where did he play? Stanford?
California, maybe?
California. That's right. He played at Cal.
There's got to be some hope if you're a Detroit fan, because you just got rid of an aging quarterback who wanted out, and you got a young guy who's got a whole lot of upside in a league that does not have a lot of upside in the quarterback position across the board. So
Deshaun Watson still wanting out in Houston. Their GM came out last week and said, I wouldn't be here if I didn't know that Deshaun Watson was going to be our quarterback next year. Boy, that's bold talk. What if Watson just says, I ain't playing?
So
spends all of his time on his back. Jared Goff could do well. I don't understand. I'll never understand how programs that buy players, the professional leagues, how you can have teams that perennially suck. How did the Cleveland Browns?
Cowboys?
Well, yeah, no kidding. Well, okay, and you know what? It's ownership or management. That's what it's got to be, because they all have the draft.
Cleveland floundered for years, made bad draft decisions. Johnny Manziel,
right?
Tried to buy, but now they've done it right. They've made smarter decisions with their drafts. They've gotten the pieces through free agency that have helped solidify the team. They're in a cap-friendly place,
brother man,
that's allowed them to build talent and stockpile talent 2 or 3 deep. You watch the Browns get to an AFC Championship game or even to a Super Bowl game, and their depth will be rated, because then teams that haven't done as good a job start rating that second-tier talent.
And they'll still be saying Baker Mayfield's no good.
So, Super Bowl Sunday, Chiefs Bucks. Who you got?
I'm assuming that both teams are healthy. I'm assuming. I just think Patrick Mahomes is.
Bucks are wearing their whites.
Tom Brady has won so many Super Bowls, I can't even romantically cheer for
But you know
him.
what's interesting? If you really looked at that championship game, the Buccaneers won it in spite of him. He didn't play a great game.
No, I think Patrick Mahomes. I think the Chiefs win. And isn't that what we've said all year?
Simply says Brady at home.
Interesting to have Brady at home. Very rare that you have a home field advantage.
First time ever.
That's how rare it is. What about – thank you for clarifying, oh great seer of facts. What do you think about Patrick Mahomes? He's not – I mean, he's clearly not worried about the limelight. I mean, he's ready to go. He won it last year. We said all year it was going to be Kansas City, and I thought we agreed all year. Are you thinking Brady, maybe?
No, I think the Bucks. I think the Chiefs. I think passing of the torch from Brady to Mahomes.
The brother man's coming in here throwing some leverage around Ralph, the Hall of Famer.
Ralph's flashing his pistol in his coat and telling him to get out of here.
Brother Gary is the muscle. You know, he comes in and says, "Hey, you guys better get it ready." Brother man, we didn't get you in yesterday. And on a serious note, I know it's close to your heart. I know you're a VISD guy, and I knew that you understood yesterday when we just couldn't do our sports minute. You know, all right, I knew you understood.
We understood it, and that's okay. Dr. Shepard was going to come on with us. Dr. Beaumont.
Did they do good with you guys too? I thought they were fantastic.
They enjoyed it, and they enjoyed both. They said they really enjoyed your show and our show. So
tell us about. I'm hearing a little frog in your throat this morning. Were you up late last night?
Well, I'm always working. You know that. So I got late night tonight. Rocky Mountain Health Foundation. I'm doing that.
You know, it's a little known fact that you volunteer.
Did the Rocky Mountains move here?
Yeah,
Brother Gary does amateur night over at Maximus as the DJ. You know, hey, put your hands together for Turkishwa. Come on. Right.
Hey, I think I taught her.
Right. Hey, put some clothes on, young lady. I taught you. You know better than that.
Right.
Right. Brother man, tell us this. Bucks, Chiefs.
I'm going. I kind of like Tom Brady.
See,
You want Chiefs?
well, I think we have to. We've been on the Chiefs
Chiefs
train
are
all
favored.
year.
I'm saying sentimental. If
What's the
they make
spread? You know the spread?
A field goal. It's a field goal. It's been a field goal all the way.
So
Toss-up.
wouldn't most folks agree
Who's the favorite?
Kansas City.
that
Excuse
home
me.
field advantage in stereotype, home field advantage is a 7-point favorite. That's a 7-point advantage. Two equally matched teams, home field, the guy will be a 7-point favorite. So they're saying the Chiefs are better.
A better team. They're probably going to win, but it's sentimental if he wins. Real quick, the cannon, they can only fire the cannon once at James Raymond Stadium when they come out, because it's supposed to be a neutral site, even though Tampa Bay's at home. They cannot fire the cannon
After every touchdown?
No, sir.
Okay.
They can only fire the cannon if Tampa Bay wins at the end of the game as much as they want.
Fair
BJ
enough.
Nelson said Turkishwa,
Let's get out of here.
followed by
I don't want
Fantasia.
Rob to get upset with us. I don't want him to get upset. I gotta live with him, man.
Ralph,
I gotta live with him.
it's Friday. Ralph's got to stay on the air till like noon. He ain't going to get upset.
I won't be here.
Folks, we